Welcome to the Bentley Chronicles. I'm John Carney, and the Bentley Chronicles are stories of our West Highland Terrier Bentley that bring God's Word to life. This morning's message and this week's devotional is simply entitled, Bentley Doesn't Bark Very Much. Now, while Bentley doesn't bark very much, I've had some pups that certainly did. I had a dog by the name of Pal who was a beagle. He was a beautiful dog, perfect example of a beagle. He was fast, he was fun to be around, but he had a spiritual gift of barking, and he did it often. He was kind of a nuisance. Now, Bentley, on the other hand, doesn't bark hardly at all. In fact, when we got Bentley, we never heard him bark for a couple years, and we're surprised the first time we ever did. In fact, we're only aware that Bentley really barks on really one of two occasions. One is one day I was walking Bentley and on one of our morning walks, and suddenly Bentley stopped dead in his tracks, looked up in the sky, and suddenly began to bark. And it was kind of shocking. And what did I see? I looked up in the sky where he was looking, and there was a hawk swooping down toward us. And Bentley was going to have none of it. Bentley, for some reason, barks at hawks. He doesn't like them. The other second incident that Bentley might actually bark is in our neighborhood. There are a lot of cats. Bentley doesn't mind them too much, but we have one cat in particular that likes to come and to sit on our front porch. And when Bentley will notice that, he will go to the window, and that is just a bridge too far, and he will bark, telling that kitty to get off my porch. Well, that's about it. Now, Bentley, while he doesn't bark much, Bentley does communicate. Now, how does Bentley communicate with us? Well, very simply in this way. Bentley comes up to us, looks us in the eye, especially me, and then if it's very urgent, he sits there and he rocks back and forth. And what is he telling us? He's telling us a lot of things. He is telling us he's hungry. He's telling us he really could use a bone. He was telling us that he needs to go outside to go to the restroom. Now, there's a couple other things Bentley informs us. When Bentley wants a tummy rug, what he always does, he goes up to where my wife sits in the den, goes to her chair, goes beside her feet, lays on his side, and just kind of looks at her, telling her, you know what I want. You know what I want. And then when Bentley wants to go to bed, what he does, he either comes up to my wife or myself, usually my wife, and he'll get right next to the chair we're sitting in. He'll stand up on two paws and just look us in the eye. Though he doesn't bug us too much, after he has informed us that he's ready to go to bed, if we don't go right away, he just kind of scoots a little way and lays down patiently until we go. Now, the other night, Bentley informed me that he was sick. Now, how did I know that he was sick? Well, he came up to me and he looked me in the eye and then he cried, which is something Bentley hardly ever does. Well, I knew that meant he needed to get outside. He was sick to his stomach. And so he went out in the backyard and I went with him. And for 30 minutes he went out and he was sick. Finally, after 30 minutes, he calmed down and we came back inside. Well, after about another 30 minutes, Bentley got sick again, looked me in the eyes and cried again, and we went outside. And that process continued all night till about 1 in the morning, till finally Bentley sort of got over what was hurting him. Now, the next morning we called the vet, and he gave us some meds to kind of help Bentley. But, you know, Bentley and I have a special relationship. I'm his master. And because I'm his master, Bentley communicates with me. And whenever he's hurting and whenever he's in need, I do everything I can to meet that need. Why? Because I love him. Well, you know what? If you have a master and a Lord, and his name is Jesus Christ, then you have a special relationship with him too. And if you'll call out to him, he will meet your needs, and he'll stand beside you, and he will take care of you in ways that I can't take care of Bentley. I was reading the other day in the book of Psalms, chapter 18, and King David was talking about his relationship to the Lord. And I want you to listen to what he says. In verses 1 through 3, listen very closely. He says, I love you, Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. My God is my rock in whom I take refuge. He is my shield and my horn of my salvation, my stronghold. Verse 3, I will call out to the Lord, who is worthy of praise, and I am saved from my enemies. He goes on down to say in verse 6, in my distress I called to the Lord. I cried to my God for help. And then in verse 17, he says, the earth trembled and quaked, and the foundation shook, and they trembled because God was angry. God responded to him. And then down in verses 16 and 17, he says, he reached down from high, and he took hold of me. He drew me out of the deep waters, and he rescued me from my powerful enemy. And then in verse 28, he says, you, O Lord, keep my lamp burning. My God turns my darkness into light. What did David do? David called out to the Lord, and God heard his call, and God responded to him. You see, Jesus is able to turn our darkness into light. All he asked is that you communicate with him, that you call out to him, you look him in the eyes, feel his love, and let him save you. I'm praying that you come to know the saving and healing power of Christ this week, simply by calling out to him. We hope to see you next time on the Bentley Chronicles. God bless you.